Throughout this little series is going to be all about building stability and mobility through our joints. So today we're going to begin seated, however you'd like to get there. And knees are going to be about hip width and feet are as well. And then I can support myself to the rear using my hands and start laying the legs over, warming up the internal and external rotation at the hip. 3 and 4. We're going to go about 9 or 10 each way. And 7 and 8 and 9, and then see if you can release that hand support and come up into the figure 4 seated position and hold that position for about 8, 9, 10 seconds. Full breath. Getting comfortable in the position, and then change it up. You might feel a difference between your left and right. Breathing into the tight spots. Back to the movement. If you can come up the scale, come up the scale. Next part would be to guide the movement, using the hands to guide the knees. Seeing the back leg landing somewhere close to the sole of the front leg's foot, back and forth. Going a couple times on this one. 5, leaning back is what is going to allow you to access the rotation, and that's what we do. Or you can come up. And again, we're going to hold on one side. Settling in, looking at the clarity of the spine above the hip. Alright, now hip might have us all kinds of offset, and that's alright. That's the work. That's why we're here, to explore this bit. And then switch it. Big full breaths. Back up through the middle. Extend the legs, extend the arms up toward the ceiling, and then pull them back. And when we pull them back, we're going to try and lift the hip, let the hands go where they need to go to give you support as you approach the tabletop. Next time you come down, legs extend, trying to take the hands up overhead. Full breath. Hands down. Hips up, full breath. Hips down, hands up. Work the point of the toe. Full breath. Hands down, hips up. If we can open up the hip up to shoulder height, that's great. If the hip is down here, this is also fine. We want to open up the chest, full breath. That breath moving fully through my torso. Hips down, hands up. Full breath. Now if the hands up is too much, right, and our point for taking the hands up is to get the spine extended, so we can also cross our wrists in front of our face. If the shoulders are starting to feel like they cannot operate that, then cross the wrists in front of the face. The point is to bring clarity through the spine. Hands up, hands down, hips up. Couple more. This time curl the toes back in toward you, wherever you are. Hands up. Here, or perhaps here. Hands down, hips up. Full breath. Full breath, hips up. Now we're going to sit and hold the position for a moment. Full breaths. Probably good. Hips up. Full breaths. Focusing on what we can do. Can we open in our chest? Full breaths. Can we vault up the hip by clenching the butt? Full breath. Good. Easy coming back down. Back into our seated leg positioning. Bring one leg in. See how that affects our hip. And see about alternating them. So let's say the leg only comes back to here. This is fine. As we get more range, we can start reaching with that long leg. Alright, use this foot as almost like an anchor, where I'm reaching with that straight leg, even if it's out here. Shift in the hip, and we're going to use that shift in the hip here in just a minute. Trying to maintain the clarity in my spine. If I need to have support back here to do that, this is fine as well. Keep going and let the repetition get you into a better position. Focus on what we can do well. Then the next time your leg goes out, take them both out and see about, and if we need to support ourselves, we can. Walk in with the hip. Forward a few, backward a few. You can kind of use your hands as a guide point. Right? If this were to establish a line, think about getting the hips out in front of that line, a couple steps, and behind the line, a couple steps. You can also put our hands on our rib cage, and that's going to give us clarity about what's going on through the spine. We can use the feet on the end as our marker now. I want to get close to the edge in the front. Working that. And then when we get somewhere in the middle, go ahead and set those feet up and roll the spine down. And when we get to the floor, get centered here. When we get to the floor, think about protracting the shoulders, and that's going to lift us up, activating the upper core. I've still got my hands on my ribs because it gives me really good feedback. And then when the shoulder goes down, I'm going to operate an anterior tilt. We won't be able to see that with the shirt, but when I take an anterior tilt, I'm creating a little gap there, and then switch it to a posterior tilt, and that's going to lift my butt up, but I'm not bridging, no, just using the tilt to the pelvis, and switching that back and forth, anterior and posterior tilt, healing the lower back on and off of the mat. My hands are on my ribs, got a good feel about what's going on below the rib cage in my spine. And then I'm going to come back up and use protraction to get a little lift. I'm thinking about taking my face upward and not down toward my knees. And I'm using my protraction to do it. Pulling the shoulders forward, Dropping the sternum back. We got a little more back. Couple more. 3, 2, and then hit and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release. Back down to the hip. Posterior tilt. Anterior tilt is going to gap us in the spine here. Nice and easy. Operating that spine. Then we're going to bring the knees up and lay on the one side, facing ourselves with our hands. And see about rolling left to right, using the upper body to stabilize. All right, and I can take the activity down to this part here where I've got just the knee above the hip. I've got my lower legs relaxed. I'm taking the knee left and right. And then I can add difficulty as I take the legs out a little bit straighter or full straight, but a little bend in the knee. It's going to do it. And when I come up over the top, I'm going to go one leg. Other leg, lay it over. One side, other side, one leg, other leg, left, right. One side, other side, left, right. Couple more. 1, 2, left, right. 1, 2, and I'm maintaining that posterior tilt here. Oh, right, left, either way, touching both sides. This time when I get out there, I find that limit, find that spot where I can keep my low back pinned, and I take it back. And that can be up here, it can be at any point, right? It might be with both knees over the hip. We might be doing good work right here. And this is good too. But if I can extend one, hold it for a second. See if I can still breathe. Extend the other. Hold it for a second. Making sure my low back is still pinned here. Pull it back in, lay it to one side. Allow some relaxation there. Take it to the other side. When we pull the knees back in, we can use them to help roll up, and that's what's going to be next. Is a couple of rolls, gentle, up and down the spine. One more. Couple spine rolls. Let the legs lay over, or however you want to transition into prone. We'll be working from prone position next, and if we need extra padding on the knees, then we need extra padding on the knees, and that is what it is. Protract the shoulder and retract it. If I keep those knees down, I keep those arms straight and full. If you're feeling stronger, you can lift the knees and see about operating the same bit. Protract protraction and retraction in the shoulder, hands going wherever they need to go to give you the best support and the ability to get the full extended arm with the elbow pit facing forward. And whether knees up or knees down, we're still doing great work with our protraction and retraction. And the next time we protract, think about straightening the leg and then gently landing the knees with control. When I land those knees, I'm going to take one leg to the rear, bring the opposite hand up, the bird dog, right? And we can point and counterbalance, or we can keep the knee curled, no big deal. But then I'm going to take that hand and work on my shoulder as well. And you see the rotational bit, so if I cannot get behind my back, I'm going to lift the foot, get my base of support through the 3 limbs, then I'm going to remove the other one, and it's going to be bring the arm back and around, maybe pat your butt, something like that. Operating the shoulder back and forth, we're going to go. And I went fast on that one, and I'm going to slow it down. My shoulder range, base, 1 limb up, 2 limbs up. Back and forth, focusing on what we can do. If that's patting the butt or just reaching the arm around, that's fine. Start to get into it. Really clear pattern. 3 points, 2 points. Couple more. Working that base of support. And now you see I'm lifting 2 limbs simultaneously. Does not have to go like that. That's just a little next step. And it might have that, and that's fine. 3 points. 2 points. 3 points. 4 points. 3 points. 2 points. 3 points, 4 points. Operate the shoulders. Maybe roll them. Not only protracting and retracting, but elevating into press. A couple rolls, and then straighten the legs on the protraction. And walking a bit. Walking, walking, walking. Shifting the weight. How long? Up to you. We're just gonna gently walk here, arms up toward the head, over the head perhaps, all 4 limbs straight as they can be, a little bit of activity everywhere, little shift in the hips perhaps, little shift in the hands perhaps. If you're down already again, then it's touch the knees. Pop up either to a high kneel or a low seated kneel, whatever's comfortable. And up at the top, shake the wrist. Big deep breaths. Staying tall from the high kneel. Easy coming back down. Easy finding your way back to a seated position. See if you can achieve a butterfly, and if that means it's out here, that is what it is. All right, see if you can achieve a butterfly. See if you can take the butterfly into a single leg. Take the single leg to the other side. Straight leg and straddle. If we're using hand support, this is all right. Butterfly, single, single, pike, straddle. All right, and your straddle might not be all that, and that is okay. I've worked hard for a long time on a straddle, and it's still not all that. And that's not the point. The point is to be able to focus on the things we can do and do them well. Butterfly, single, single, pike, straddle. And next time you come back in, rolling back down to a supine position, taking one leg over this time. First bit would be to engage the leg, the upper leg, down toward the knee, perhaps. Perhaps this leg can go a little bit straighter, perhaps not. Then switch them. Top leg's the one that's reaching. Shoulder relaxing toward the floor on the opposite side. Back to first side. Back to second side. Back and forth. Back through the center. One more time. Leave it there for a minute, however far over it is. Couple breaths. Opposite side. Couple breaths. When I say couple, I mean like 4 or 5. Nice and deep. And our last thing, we're going to pull our knees up. We're going to have the hips down, and I'm going to roll toward the side. And come up toward that hip and that elbow support, and use it to bring me back up to seated. And then I'm going to go back down in, and I want to be very intentional about the way my hand hits, about the way I go down to my elbow, about the way I hold my protraction as I roll through to the other side. Peeling off. Peeling off. If I come in with retraction in my shoulders, it's going to feel real clunky, right? Like Robocop. I want to smooth out the peel. And I'm going back and forth. But if we're having trouble with that, we can go in one direction. Seven. Peeling and feeling. I'm feeling my contact with the floor. I'm letting my legs lean as I need to lean. The only thing really strict about peel and roll is that we're trying to make it quiet. Pretty good. Make it the other way. One direction. Peeling, peeling. It's North Carolina, got mosquitoes indoors here. Couple more peels. You feel a little burn in your core. You're using your arms to help. And building coordination. Whole body's moving. Back up through the center. Come to an easy cross-legged position, and if cross-legged position is